Oh, hey, there we are. I'm seeing us on the screen. Great. Hey, it's game time with Doc and Lurch. We're just logging in a couple minutes early just to get our sound check out of the way. We're trying to do that more and more so that we don't waste as much time on sound checks. So check 1 2, check 1 2. So check 1 2, check
Hedgehog,
1 2. So check one
by the
two.
hoary host of Hoggoth,
Check one
by the
two.
hoary host of Hoggoth,
Check
by
one
the hoary
two.
host of Hoggoth.
Yep, we got the hoary host of Hoggoth in repeat there. So there we go. All right. Hey, welcome everybody. This is Game Time with Doc and Lurch. Every week we come at you here from the Springfield Ozark area with everything in the nerdosphere. We're part of Eclectic Endeavors, the group that brings you the Gaming Arts Media Entertainment Expo, which you can see the dates posted for in the center of the screen here. October 14th, 15th, and 16th will be the weekend of the final Game Expo. And because it is our final Game Expo before we close the doors on this legacy, we're going to make it only $10 for the whole weekend. So that's a great price to go to a weekend of fun. We have a huge console gaming area hosted by Lurch, our director of electronic gaming, as well as co-chair this year. I will be running the panels area, and I'm also director of cross promotions, and we got a bunch of other people in the wings that help us. It is definitely not put on just by one or two people. This is a whole committee of people that got to do this, and we're doing this all nonprofit. We don't make a dime out of it. In fact, some of us even end up spending some of our own money just to make sure it goes off without a hitch. So come on down, have some fun, volunteer to be a henchman if you can, because we can always use henchmen, and that'll get you in for free. I mean, you're only saving $10 this year, but we still need henchmen,
Mm.
and you'll get a cool T-shirt, and you get your name entered into a drawing for Amazon gift cards. We give one or two Amazon gift cards to henchmen every year, um, and things of that nature. So come on down. We're going to have a bunch of stuff you know and love. Some of the other stuff isn't necessarily happening unless we get volunteers to run them. Example being the costume contest is currently not on the books, but if you'd like to see the costume contest happen, volunteer to run it, or find a friend that you trust to get to volunteer to run it, and get them to one of our meetings. Join Eclectic Endeavors on Facebook. That's the group that we are. We're part of the Springfield Regional Art Council, a 501c3 here in town. And On Eclectic Endeavors is where we post things about the meetings. We're right now trying to determine when our next meeting is going to be. There's been some voting in the channel, so go into the channel and say it's usually a Sunday or a Monday is the days of the meetings, and we're looking at a virtual meeting, I think, this time around, which means it would be on Discord or Zoom. Anyway, we're going to get into the show. We got a little bit of stuff to talk about. I personally did not make it to VisionCon this year, which was this last weekend, but that is our sister convention. They also run here in the Springfield area. Oh, and hold on. My phone is going off. I don't know what it
Oh
is.
no.
It doesn't even say what it is. Oh, oh, it's one of them stupid games. I want notification settings. Oh well. I'm going to have to turn off notifications for that game. Every time I install a new game, I have to remember to do that. Anyway, oh, go
Mhm.
back to my Twitch monitor channel and open that up now. So it monitors the stream. And while I'm thinking about it, let me also turn on my chat pop out so I can see if anybody says anything in chat. And then we're going to get going on the actual topics for this week. Um, and we talk, like I said, about anything and everything having to do with the nerdosphere. we're still having technical difficulties with the Discord and Lurch's cam, so you won't see him move as much. You might every once in a while see him change position, but that's about the best we've been able to get in the last couple weeks. And I don't know if it's a new thing with Discord or what, but trust me, Lurch is here. He's live, and he's talking on his topics, and we're going to do our
Yeah.
best to try to figure out what's going on with that. And it just, I might have to switch back to the web version of Discord and see if that works any better. But anyway, our first topic is, of course, as usual, traditionally Lurch's topic. So we're going to jump right on in. Something about Square Enix.
Yeah. All right. So Square Enix, the video game publisher that's been around forever, is selling. Basically, they're selling all of their Western developer teams along with the IPs that go with them. Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, and they say over 50 back catalog games. A bit of a surprise, they're selling it to the Embrace It Group, which is the publishing group that owns Gearbox and THQ Nordic. The teams that are being sold are Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal, which I'm assuming Square Enix Montreal will get a name change since they won't be part of Square Enix anymore. Numbering about 1,100 employees.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's heavy news in gaming.
Yeah. The catalog of IPs include, Deus Ex, Tomb Raider, Thief, Legacy of Kain, and now I'm curious about because it's also the teams, these are also the teams that worked on the Guardians of the Galaxy game that came out last year and the Avengers game from a couple years ago, which has still been getting updates. I'm not sure, with those being licensed titles from Marvel, I'm not sure how that's going to work. I'm not sure if the licensing is going with the teams that are developing the game or if they're staying with the publisher. I don't know. But I don't imagine the publisher doing much to keep those licenses because they are apparently they're keeping all their Eastern developing teams and IPs, so they're keeping like their Final Fantasies and their Octopath Traveler and and titles like that, but selling off everything else. It's been a bit of a weird announcement, and besides that, it was the sale was approved for $300 million. Which, after seeing some of these other titles, these other sales we've had in the last year or so, this seems like a really tiny, price. 300 million. Like, we've got, Bungie, a single developing team selling to, being bought by PlayStation for, billions of dollars. And, Activision Blizzard, that one being for, what was that one, 68 billion or something like that. And then this deal of only 300 million, not just the teams, like I said, but the IPs of all the games that they've been working on or have worked on. It's a bit of a shakeup. Maybe they are wanting to streamline and focus all their attention now on their more Eastern games. Could be what they're doing. Some people are speculating. That maybe they are trying to make themselves more appealing as a sale for themselves to sell Square Enix to somebody.
Or they could be prepping to try to fight a hostile merger.
Yeah, I mean, if they are, they could be like a lot of speculation that they are prepping themselves to be purchased by PlayStation. Is a rumor that's going around at the moment, but that's just that's unconfirmed, that part anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think about all of this. It could be good. It could be good news. Yeah. But it's hard to say so far. I am hoping, with the new ownership that maybe we get to see a revitalization of some of the older properties that they've worked on in the past coming back. I think it'd be cool to see a new Soul Reaver or something,
Right.
new Legacy of Kain, something like that.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, they could be prepping because they know that there's a buyout in the works, and either they want to fight the buyout by making themselves less appealing, or by recapitalizing so that they don't need to take the buyout, or they just might be unloading stuff to make themselves more attractive to the potential buyer that they've been courting. You never know, or has been courting them. You
Yeah,
know, a buyer might have said, we want you, but we're not really interested in these properties and IPs and stuff. And so they're trying to, liquidate those before they go. Who knows? Time will tell, and we'll, of course, update people as we find out more. That's something Lurch is really good about, is finding out these things going on in the gaming industry.
yeah. As someone who loved the Guardians of the Galaxy game, and I love the Avengers game, even though it had its flaws, and and the I should have played the other Tomb Raider games. Of the Tomb Raider, revitalization that the Crystal Dynamics did. I only played the first of them, but I thought that one was fantastic. I wanted to play the other ones, but you know how it is. It's just there's a finite amount of time. But and then also a big fan of the Final Fantasy games and other stuff that Square Enix does. This is definitely
Yeah, and Final Fantasy is
one that
their
I'm.
big
This is
property.
definitely a development that I'm going to be keeping an eye on as time moves on, for sure.
Yeah, speaking of Final Fantasy, you were looking for a cosplay on Facebook the other day with the wore shorts, and most of the lead characters for most of the Final Fantasy are in like half shorts. You know,
Yeah,
they're in
they're
like kind of like modified capri pants type shorts.
I'm thinking. Let's see. I think the main character in Final Fantasy X wore shorts.
Right.
I don't know
And
if there's that many of them in
but
shorts, but
I
there
think
are a
in
few.
in 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 10 and 7, I think they both wore kind of shorts. Those two are the ones I can think of right off the top of my head.
You said 4?
10 and 7.
Oh, 10 and 7. I'm trying to think of who wore shorts in 7.
I might be misremembering 7,
Yeah. I don't remember anybody
but I know in
wearing
10
shorts in
it's
the
like
first
a
one.
half shorts. So because he's wearing like the loose fitting clothing so he can play blitzball. So in
Yeah.
10 he's definitely in shorts kind of thing. So that makes a good cosplay for that.
Yeah,
But
and Waka, and most people that
oh
play
yeah,
blitzball
Waka,
in
yeah,
that
all the
game.
blitzballers.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Lulu is freaking completely furred up and everything, like she's freezing. While everybody else is in half shorts, she's running around with a fur-lined cloak and everything.
Yeah.
So, yep. Okay. Moving on. My Kickstarter recommendation for this week, I happened to come across a VR glasses setup for like a Google Glasses type of thing. It's called Virtue One. It's for gaming, streaming, and movie watching anywhere with a portable wireless glasses system. Of course, we're talking about how some of those needed to start coming out again because they pulled like Google Glasses and a few others for different reasons. But this is a new one that's in Kickstarter now. Um, it has 21 days left on it, and it is um, it's already made 1.4 million out of a $20,000 goal, so it's made its goal and then some. That's about 70 times its goal.
So how do these glasses work?
Well, it's a future on view. It's a 78G only spatial sound, heat free. Let's see. What there was some specifics on here. Um,
Huh.
they strike the balance between fashion accessory and wearable tech product. Uh, they they
It's
do have a
interesting.
magnetic connector cable that you can. They have a referral program so that if you pledge and then you refer a friend and they pledge, both you and that friend will get the free extra 1.1 millimeter USB-C to magnetic connector cable, which is a $50 value. Um, where's the tech specs? Uh, First Google Android TV licensed wearable device, preloaded with all your favorite streaming services, gaming platforms, and supported by the Google Play Store. You don't even need to have a compatible phone to power the VR glasses. Just put them on and get started. It's got cloud gaming. The future Virtue One comes with the best cloud gaming service pre-installed. No additional gaming hardware required to enjoy most any AAA masterpiece. Uh, it's got Stadia, GeForce Now, Xbox, Boostroid, Shadow, and Parses gaming apps. Um, Remote play. Ever taken your PS5 on vacation? Leave it at home next time. If you're a console gamer with PlayStation or Xbox, simply download PS Play or the Xbox app, connect your controller, and enjoy the freedom of playing your favorite games remotely from the park, tucked into bed, or across the world on a virtual 120-degree TV with Virtue One and a stable 5G/Wi-Fi connection. The games you already own are at your fingertips anywhere you go. So you can pack a few pounds lighter next time you take a trip. Still not seeing a whole bunch of how they're doing it technically. I mean, see the apps, but I'm not sure how they're getting around some of the stuff that was problematic for earlier Google Glasses. Uh, Special coating in front of the glasses prevent others from seeing the content you're watching. Finally, catch up on your favorite shows without spoiling it for your roommate. Small, all native streaming apps. 3D movie theater. Switch is best buddy. Yeah, it's compatible with the Switch. A mobile dock that hooks up to the Switch. Product features, image quality.
Oh,
120 degree stream displays images 1080p at 60 frames per second. The glasses have a PPD, so pixel per degree of 55, roughly the equivalent of 300 to 400 ppi on a physical screen. It's Retina display. Like a Retina display, the human eye is incapable of detecting individual pixels at this range. And to better put that in perspective, most VR headsets PPD is around 20. Virtual One is in a league of its own, delivering truly seamless images and video quality. Sound quality. Proud to have partnered with one of the most well-known audio companies to design the best possible internal audio system. Virtue One's glasses contain an embedded directional speaker located near the temple that will allows for immersive spatial sound without the need for additional devices. Color changing film. Virtue One's unique Electrochromic film brightens and dims as needed. See every detail and enjoy cinema quality experience even in broad daylight. Ambient and immersive modes. Nearsighted, no problem. Don't let a little myopia get in the way of your gaming. Easily adjust Virtual One to your eye prescription and seamlessly move from the world to the one of your choice. Nice. Magnetic connector. Heat dissipation. Virtue One is relative months of work and years of planning, culminating in a cutting edge design complete with smart heat release engineering. The temperature stays between 30 degrees centigrade, 86 degrees Fahrenheit at all times. Also, you can enjoy hours of play without losing your cool. Ergonomic design, easy on the eyes, less strain on the eyes than a mobile phone. Neckband, weight comparison. It's 120 grams as compared to the 320 grams of the Sony SRS and 260 grams for the Bose Soundwear. It's got a control pad. Conveniently located on the inside of the neckband. These tactile buttons allow you to quickly and intuitively navigate our state-of-the-art GUI, including toggling between immersive and ambient modes. Nice. Mobile dock, iPhone and HDMI devices, power bank. And this has got some timestamps for the video where they talk about Netflix, 4K YouTube, ambient mode, PS Play, PS Remote Play, PS5 Remote Play, Moonlight Remote Play PC over 5G, voice control, custom settings, GeForce Now, cloud gaming over 5G internet, and GeForce Now, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Virtue One XR glasses, compatible with any USB-C device with video output and power delivery, including Steam Deck, MacBook.
I'll be curious to see if this thing actually works as advertised.
Yeah, I mean,
It almost sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, it does. Here we go. Tech specs.
What was the price of it again?
The cheapest backing for the project is just the glasses is $399.
Okay.
Early bird is $429. That's where you get him. I don't know why it said early bird. Oh, super early bird was $399. Then early bird is $429. Then the regular is $499. That's super early bird. And then the dock pack early bird $499 and so on. But so they're running about $400 or $500 for the backing on the project. I was like, we were finally at the tech specs there, and I was going to glance at those and see if there was any really revealing tech spec stuff. long. At least they don't stint on the details.
Yeah.
Tech specs. Okay. They come in black, blue, and white. Audio is acoustic system is inverse sound field. Speakers is built-in spatial sound. FO is 270 hertz. Myopia is adjustment is 0.00 to 5.0. Weight is 78 grams. Dimensions folded is 163 by 47.7 by 53.7 millimeters. Electrochromic film is 5 to 80% with less than 1 degree of haze or 1% haze. Discoloration time is about 2 seconds. Micro OLED display is 50,000 to 1 contrast, 16.7 mega color. PPD is 55. IPD is 57.5 to 69.5 millimeters. 2D and 3D. Binocular, yes. FOV is 43 degrees. Brightness is 1800 NT. Brightness contrast is 7 levels. Wearing experience. Wear detection, yes. Wearing time suggested is 3 to 4 hours. Connection is magnetic pogo pin. Additions, USB cable is a 1.1 millimeter USB-C. Nose pads is small, medium, large available. And there's a carrying case. And there's specs for the neckband and the mobile dock. What's in the box? You get the glasses, the neckband, and then the mobile dock, unless you get the glasses only starter. And I guess the retail price is going to be like almost $700 for most of the stuff. Glasses only would be about $550. But of course, the super early bird's $399, then the early bird's $429. And looks like they're planning to have it out October, November this year.
October this year?
October 2022.
That's coming close.
October, November. So they hopefully that means that their engineering is pretty much done and they're really just waiting to do the mass production. I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see. But I thought with our talk in the past couple of shows about Google Glasses type things and augmented reality that this would be something to check out. In fact, I did end up backing that augmented reality Kickstarter, even though I normally only back one a year. And I think I'd already backed something this year. I don't remember. But I went ahead and backed that Arcana from last week or a couple weeks ago, because it was about to run out. And so I backed it like yesterday, day before. I think it ran out on the 1st, and I backed it the last day for $30. So this one's got 21 days left. 2,400 backers, and it's made, like I said, 70 times its goal. So there's quite a few people looking to get at these glasses. It will be interesting to see if they can live up to their hype. That's the big thing, is living up to what they're promising. But anyway, till next time we hit Kickstarter, I'm going to go ahead and move on to your next topic, Lurch. And it looks like it's an Xbox topic.
Yes. So Xbox has announced they have a a showcase. They're calling the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase. June 12th. It'll be a Sunday. So not far from now. Just a little over a month from now. 90 minutes to showcase whatever they have in the works over there at Xbox and Bethesda. It's hard to say for sure what's going to be there. I'm expecting a few minutes on Starfield. I'm hoping to get some gameplay of Starfield so we can get an idea of what the game's going to play like. I'm hoping that we get some information about the Forge mode for Halo Infinite, because that Forge mode isn't out yet. And I know that's something big, and also the co-op mode too. There's a lot of stuff. I want to see a lot of what the Bethesda side of development has, because Xbox has bought Bethesda but hasn't put out any content yet on Xbox up to this point. And we don't know much about what Bethesda is working on, really. So, yeah, I just want to bring this up. We got a 90-minute long showcase coming up in just a little over a month from Xbox and Bethesda. And I just want to make a quick call out for this.
Looks like it's going to be
it'll be watchable live
channels,
in a few places. What's that?
6 different channels: YouTube.com Xbox, Twitch.tv Xbox, Twitch.tv Xbox ASL, Twitter.com/Xbox, Facebook.com/Xbox, and TikTok.com @Xbox.
Yeah, I didn't know you could watch a 90-minute video on TikTok. I guess I don't know enough about TikTok.
This would be a TikTok stream, yeah. I don't do TikTok myself, so.
So 10 a.m. Pacific time that day. It's a Sunday. That make it around noon our time. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing. That's what I'm gonna be doing for the first 90 minutes of my day on June 12th is watching this live.
Right.
Probably on YouTube. I'll probably be using YouTube to watch it, but maybe Twitch, either or. YouTube is easier to watch on my big TV.
My Roku does not have a Twitch app, so if I was going to watch it, I would watch it on YouTube probably. But I'm not an Xbox person, so I probably won't be watching it.
Yeah.
But I know you would be, so.
Yeah,
I'm still a pretty diehard PlayStation person.
Whether it's Xbox, Nintendo, or PlayStation,
you try to keep up with it all, yeah.
I try, yeah. If it's early in the morning, I'll watch it later.
Right. You'll watch the recording, not the live, but you'll watch it.
Noon, no problem there.
Yeah.
I'll be watching it live. A lot of basically, if it's a console game publisher, there's a good chance I'll watch it, whether it's live or after the fact. So yeah, I'd like to see what we have, what major things we have coming down the pipeline. For Game Pass really, because most of what they're going to show is probably going to be on Game Pass. I would expect.
Makes sense to me.
Yep.
Okay. On to my next topic, and actually it's a little bit different this time. One of our favorite nerdy actors out there is Nathan Fillion, of course, who has been in Dr. Horrible Sing-Along Blog. He was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was the captain in Firefly and Serenity. And he was in Castle as well, which wasn't as much of necessarily a nerdy show. And he's been doing a show called The Rookie now for the past 3 or 4 years. And I just wanted to point out, they just did a backdoor pilot, a 2-parter for a spinoff on The Rookie. Now, for those who don't know, The Rookie, the concept is he's the world's oldest LAPD rookie police officer. Because he's in his 40s, and he's 40s and 50s, and he's joining the LAPD at that point in his life because he's got a divorce, his kid's grown. He was a builder, but now he's going to join the police force. And and they follow his exploits as a policeman, as the youngest the oldest police rookie out there. And it's pretty intense show. I watch it religiously. I don't cover it because it's not normally in our nerdy spread, but it's a great series if you like police procedurals and Nathan Fillion. Anyway, they're doing an FBI spinoff starring Niecy Nash, who was, among other things, a guest host during the COVID pandemic of The Masked Singer. But she plays the oldest FBI rookie. And the concept of the backdoor pilot is they Nolan, which is Nathan Fillion's character, and his partner come across a bomb at this relay station, and the fingerprints on the bomb lead to this one inner city kid. Well, he's in his 20s, and by looking into his background, they find that his high school guidance counselor was actually their cadet, played by Niecy. Simone, I don't remember her last name in the show, but was his guidance counselor. So she's brought in to kind of consult on everything. And Nolan and her kind of hit it off because of their shared predicament, being so old and entering law enforcement. And how, one of the earliest things she says is she's like feeling intimidated trying to keep up with these young 20-year-old rookies and stuff, because she can't run as fast, and she doesn't have the endurance. And Nolan turns and says, look, you're never going to beat them at being 20. That's not going to happen. But that's not what you bring to the table. You bring to the table your life experience. So lean on that. And that makes you a better police officer, is the fact that you've got life experience to draw from. And so you can think differently than some of the kids out there. And so in the two-parter, they go, and she ends up like being the only one that can really talk to the kid. And the kid he was just building the detonators for somebody else who, had hired him basically off like Craigslist to do it, because he's good with, building things, but he's got some social anxiety disorders and stuff. And she was the only person that could really get through to him even in high school. But then she turned him from, failing and uncooperative into an A student. So, she was a good guidance counselor. And like Nolan had not become a police officer when he was younger because he was a builder and his family. She had always wanted to join the FBI, but didn't because she ended up having twins, and that would not have been the right environment to raise twins as an FBI agent. She wanted to be there for her kids, so she went into the guidance counseling thing. But now that her twins are grown, she's joined the FBI, which has pissed her father off because he was wrongly incarcerated at one point. So he leads the defund the police movement in LA. He's one of the defund the police guys, and so he's barely talking to his daughter because of that. But she ends up having to talk to him anyway because she wants to have him get an advocate for her ex-student. And like I said, Nolan ends up taking her kind of under his wing a little bit, and it's a great little show. And I do know that the two-part backdoor pilot was watched by some 4 million viewers, so it had really good response. So chances are, if they decide to pick up the pilot, it will be coming in later this year or very early next year as a spin-off. And Also, The Rookie has already been renewed for another season too, so it's not going anywhere. But I thought I'd mention this week as something in nerddom because, of course, Nathan Fillion's everybody's favorite starship captain from Firefly, and so you know, let's follow our favorites as it were, and that's about all I've got to say about this show. It's worth watching, and I'll tell you that, but it's not necessarily going to pique your nerdy interest as much as more like it piques my criminology interest. I like shows like Criminal Minds and uh, Law and Order SVU and stuff like that, and this kind of scratches that itch a little bit more um, than my more nerdy itches. But we all have niches that we like outside of the mainstream nerdy stuff. And we're going to go on now to Lurch's next topic, which is, hold on, let me close that. Tales from the Reginator.
Yeah. So, if you don't remember Reggie Fils-Aimé, or are not familiar with who he is, he was the president of Nintendo for some time. He retired in 2019 from that position, but he has just recently published a book called Disrupting the Game. And I'll just read this first. I'll just read this, this couple of paragraphs here about the book, just kind of getting things started a little bit. Reggie Fils-Aimé's new book, Disrupting the Game, and I'm reading this from GameSpot.com. Disrupting the Game catalogs the industry's executives' life and career, spanning from his growing up in Haiti, moving to the Bronx, attending Cornell University, and then learning the ropes of various marketing departments and boardrooms, including Pizza Hut, VH1, and of course, Nintendo. The book often veers into giving career and life advice gleaned from his years of experience. More importantly, it gives interesting insight into his background before joining Nintendo and what was going on behind the scenes during key moments for Nintendo, including the launch of the Wii, the 3DS, the DS, the 3DS, and the Nintendo Switch. Since his retirement as Nintendo of America president in 2019, Fils-Aimé has gone into mentoring and education initiatives by being a leader in residence position at Cornell, as well as serving on the board of directors for various companies, including GameStop. He also started a podcast, Talking Games with Reggie and Harold, which raises charitable funds for low-income students impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Disrupting the Game is now available for purchase, so you can read through the life and times of the Reginator for yourself. And then they say here, we've compiled some of our favorite anecdotes and tidbits below to read, so read on. So on the GameSpot.com page, you can read, some of their favorite anecdotes, like him visiting Satoru Iwata at the hospital, Reggie's mother chasing down some teenage punks, overstepping authority at Procter & Gamble, calling the Nintendo hotline, recruitment at Nintendo, him accidentally scaring his subordinates, meeting Miyamoto, and more. So, he's got. I'm curious about this book myself, and I wanted to let people know about the existence of it. So, anyone who has like an interest in maybe working in the video game industry, or if you're just someone who's curious about the folks that work in the industry, especially at that high of a level, President of Nintendo, I would suggest checking out his book that he's got. I believe it's out now. Disrupting the Game by Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Nice. Yeah, it's always kind of interesting to see where some of our favorite developers and CEOs and stuff came from. And so when they do tell all books and biographies and biopics and stuff, it's nice to know that not everybody gets into this. I don't do a lot of true life stories, but every once in a while, some of my favorites do draw my attention, like Pirates of the Silicon Valley, I watched that, which was, of course, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, and The Social Network, about Facebook and its creator. And of course, I like to watch like some of the origins of like favorite comedians and stuff too. Like there's going to be a biopic about Weird Al Yankovic I talked about a couple of episodes ago,
Yeah, I haven't
starring
seen the
Daniel
trailer yet.
Radcliffe.
A trailer just dropped for that movie.
Oh, nice! And of course, Daniel
I
Radcliffe is the one playing
yeah.
Weird Al. So, yeah, I'm in fact hearing that a trailer just dropped. I'll probably look for that right after the show today.
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to take a look at it myself, but I saw a headline saying about the Weird Al Yankovic trailer just dropped and it's weird.
Well, I mean it's Weird Al, so
Yeah,
it's
kind of
weird
what you would
is
hope.
the thing. Yep. Okay, and was it all right? Wow, it's only 8:44, and we're getting into some of our media stuff now. And of course, the first thing in our media section is always my from the vault. And this time I've picked something from early 80s, 1981, classic little tale called. Oh, wait, why is that? That is not what I had. The page. Oh, that's not. There we go. Time Bandits. You didn't go to the right page. Now, I don't know if you've seen this one, Lurch, but Time Bandits tells the tale of a bunch of dwarfs. In this case, we're talking about, uh, dwarfism, dwarfs, who were the assistants of the supreme being when he created the world in 7 days. They did things like creating trees and shrubs and stuff, but they didn't get any credit for it. So they get demoted and they get sent down to the repair department, and they get this map with all the holes in the universe. And they decide instead of repairing the holes, they're going to use the holes to travel through time and become robbers and bandits and become filthy, stinking rich. So they end up crashing through the one of the holes in time happens to open in this little boy's bedroom, um, Kevin, and at the first he like has a nightmare about it, uh, which obviously didn't happen because the room is not wrecked or anything after the nightmare. However, the next night, he gets a Polaroid and a flashlight, and these guys come sneaking out of his wardrobe because that's where the portal opened, and they end up taking Kevin with them to the travels through time, and they end up landing in France during Napoleon's reign, and of course these guys appealed to Napoleon because he was always famously a short ruler, and they were short, and he liked little things hitting each other, and these guys did a lot of that. And so he ends up making them his generals for a little while, and then when Napoleon gets drunk, they basically rob him blind and take all of their loot through one of the holes in time space and land in Sherwood Forest and meet Robin Hood, Robin of Locksley, played by John Cleese, one of our favorite actors out there, comedic Monty Python alumni. And he ends up stealing their loot to give to the poor. So he just basically treats it like they donated it. He's like, it doesn't ask him. He just starts giving it away to the poor. And he's got one henchman and his merry men that every time he gives a piece of the gold and stuff to the poor, he has to punch the poor in the face. And we're not sure why that is. I guess it's to keep him humble. And during that time period, there's a cameo by Shelley Duvall, who's playing just one of the peasants that gets robbed, and her fiance. They get tied to a tree and everything. Then from there, um, of course, and at different times you see this floating spectral head and white light and smoke, and it's this, return what you have stolen from me, and it's supposed to be the supreme being, aka God. In fact, when they're explaining it to Kevin, he's like, "You mean God?" He says, "Well, we don't know him that well. We just work for him." And it was saying that it was a crappy job because it had to be done in 7 days, and that's why it's all broken and screwed up. And anyway, they end up on the in different places. They meet King Agamemnon, played by Sean Connery. Uh,
None.
yeah,
Wow.
King Agamemnon, which is also
Yeah.
um, a lot of people think of King Agamemnon as the uh, historical real life counterpart to Odysseus in, for some of the stories, like, and so or not Odysseus, but Theseus. You know, the one that fought the Minotaur, and he Kevin actually ends up falling out of the time portal and landing on uh, Agamemnon as he's fighting a Minotaur type creature. So
Okay.
and he goes there without the kids because he goes through a time. I mean, without the dwarves because he goes through a time portal because they're running and there are two portals open up side by side, and the kid goes through one. He just tells Kevin, "Get away!" and don't care which one, just go. And as soon as he jumps through the one, he says, "No, not that one." Of course, and it closes right behind Kevin, and so he spends a little bit of time in Agamemnon's um, country, and he even has got
Argos.
Agamemnon. Um, Not Spartus at the time. It was I'm forgetting what the name of the
Mycenae or Argos?
Mycenae. Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah. Those
And
are the two names of the
Agamemnon's
region that Agamemnon was king of.
yeah, uh, and he even has Agamemnon convinced to adopt him as his son and heir. But then they come in as entertainers and they steal Kevin away, and they make it look like a magic trick. Uh, and next thing they know, they are on the Titanic. And again, Shelley Duvall is in there as a little side character just for comedic relief, with another fiance who played by the same guy that played him in Sherwood Forest. And so now they're living in the lap of luxury on the Titanic, smoking cigars, drinking champagne, eating caviar, and Kevin's pissed because he wanted to stay with Agamemnon. He was a gamer. You could tell the kid had dreamed of knights and battle and sword play and all these kind of things. Where his mom and dad were just worried about the newest electronic gadget to come out, like blenders and microwaves and shit. And one of the things while they're going around with this map, they draw the attention of this evil overlord. He's just known as evil, and I guess he's supposed to be the devil figure, and he's stuck in this fortress of darkness in the time of legends, and he uses a distance kind of mind control to speak through one of the dwarfs at one point, trying to tempt them into going to the time of legends because he wants to get a hold of the map, which was his way to get out of that fortress he's been trapped in, so that he can try to take over the world from God and make himself the supreme being. And when the Titanic crashes, because of course that's what the Titanic is famous for, is crashing into an iceberg. They decide to take the trip to the Time of Legends because you don't need a specific portal for that one. You just need to believe. And so they transfer over to the Time of Legends, and they, go from floating in the Atlantic Ocean to floating in this uh, sea in the Time of Legends, outside of a ship with an ogre on it. And the ogre's wife is played by, if you remember the old show Who's the Boss, the one who played Madeline, the mom of the main characters, um, the redheaded, older character. She plays the wife of the ogre, and they end up tricking the ogre and end up throwing the ogre and his wife overboard, and then they've got the ship, but then the ship ends up coming to land because it's being used as a hat by a giant to come striding out of the ocean. So lots of great stuff happened. I don't want to go into the whole every single detail of the movie. It's a fun romp. It's got time travel. It's got a weird, different kind of look at things. It makes fun of itself. It's very, very cute. Very, very much an 80s kind of movie. And I think most people who watch it will really enjoy it. It's one of my favorites, and it's on HBO Max right now. So if you have HBO Max, then you could watch it, and it's called Time Bandits from 1981. And like I said, it's got some great actors in it: Sean Connery, John Cleese, Shelley Duvall. So check it out if you got time. Usually, I try not to steer you wrong on when it comes to the vault. And we'll catch you next week with something else to recommend. And speaking of movies and stuff, we're getting ready to go into our media section. So from this point on, there's real spoilers. I mean, yeah, I gave spoilers for that, but that's an older movie that I'm trying to entice you to watch, not a new one. So there's a whole bunch of clips and stuff that you can probably find on it to give you more spoilers than what I gave you. And so the next little bit is going to involve some spoilers for our media section. Also, just a note for everybody, Thursday, Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness opens up in theaters for the sneak peek, and Lurch will be at the sneak peek on Thursday.
Thursday, gonna watch some Doctor Strange.
Yep, Thursday, and Doctor Strange is, me and Lurch pretty much agree, is like our favorite Marvel character.
Yeah.
And we might disagree on our second favorite, but that's our favorite. He likes Thor, where I'm a little bit more partial to Spider-Man. But anyway, it opens up Thursday. I'll be watching it on Sunday. We will do our non-spoiler coverage of it next week, and then possibly the following week will be our spoiler-heavy coverage of the Multiverse of Madness, and we're going to even see if we can maybe talk Angel into coming in as a guest again and entering the discussion, because it's nice when we can get 3 or 4 voices talking about this. Even if we don't necessarily have the cams working still, it's the discussion that really matters. I mean, you don't really want to look at our ugly mugs that much, do you?
Yeah, if Angel's able to join us next week, it'll probably be audio only.
Well, it'll probably be not until the week after next, because Angel in the non-spoiler, I think that would just not be as good.
Maybe.
Because, Angel's going to want to talk with the spoilers, I'm sure. He's going to want to go into depth. That's how Angel is, but that's okay, because we like him he makes a great guest when it comes to movies. He knows his kaiju movies, for instance. He knows his kaiju movies.
He sure does.
So we're going to go on now to our media section, and we have the triumphant return of Superman and Lois and the Flash this week after their hiatus.
At last.
And oh my God, were these some heavy episodes? We're going to start off in order of airing. So of course, Superman and Lois comes first, and I rewatched both of them today, uh, just so that I would fresh. Cause I found that I'm better at talking about them if I rewatch them right before the show. Uh, and oh my God, was Superman and Lois an intense episode? First off, when we last seen Superman, he had disappeared into the Bizarro universe, and then we didn't have him for any more of the episode. The last episode. Well, in this
Yeah.
episode, most of what happens in the Bizarro universe.
Yeah.
Superman shows up in the Bizarro universe, and he immediately flies up into space. He finds his Bizarro version's fortress, and he goes to the fortress. He talks to his hologram mother, and basically lets her know that her son is dead. She pretty much guesses, and then Jonathan shows up. Jonathan L. Now, if you remember at the end of the last episode, Jonathan had just showed up at the Kent farm, and they realized that it was not their Jonathan. Well, now we're backtracking, and this is when Superman first arrived over at the Bizarro world, which he'd been in the Bizarro world for like months. If the story in Smallville was to be covered, and in that time period, we get to see in this episode we get to see the story from several different angles. Because first we see the Superman and Lois symbol, and it flips, and now you see Superman and Lois, spelled backwards, and then it says Bizarro Superman, and Superman is in the Bizarro world, and it follows him till he makes it to the Kent farm, and he's there with Jonathan, and then Lois shows up, and he's like, "I told you to disappear." Oh yeah, and Jonathan has powers. So not Jordan, but Jonathan has powers in the Bizarro world.
Yeah. Yeah, in the Bizarro world, it's the other way around.
And Superman is more of a media hog, and so is Jonathan. In fact, Jonathan's much more of a media hog. And next it switches, and now we see the world from Jonathan L's point of view, and so we see Jonathan's first use of his powers when he rescues somebody, because they're showing up at a media event, and Jonathan sees a guy falling out of a building, and he flies over and saves him, and Kal El, or Superman, is like, well, good, now he knows, now he can get an idea of what I go through every day, and Lois is like, are you saying we should let him be a superhero? He's like, yeah, under my tutelage, only with me. And so that's what they were doing for a while. And this is, of course, the Bizarro Superman, not our Superman. And at this time, he looks just like our Superman. He doesn't have that burnt out facial look, and they explain how he gets that in the story. Because he's becoming to keep up and everything, he's become addicted to kryptonite, which has the effect, the kryptonite here is, X kryptonite, it gives him an intensified power rush like X kryptonite would to our Superman. And he's on green kryptonite, which is, what would make our Superman sick. But it's making him this strung out junkie, basically. And Lois,
I think it's a sign. I think it's a sign of what would happen to our world's Jonathan if he keeps using that yellow kryptonite for too long.
Right, exactly. If he keeps using X kryptonite inhalers, then this could be what happens. And Lois and Jordan end up leaving him at the farm because she can't let him and his drug problem affect Jordan like it ended up alienating Jonathan, and so she leaves, and um, Jonathan becomes a follower of the cult leader, and him and his socialite girlfriend become followers of her, and so they trying to get the pendant, and we find out that Anderson came over, and Anderson's opposite ends up getting killed when they almost combine because he's got both pendants, and they managed to kill the Bizarro World Anderson before the combination is complete. So our Anderson leaves. They don't realize that Anderson had powers because, of course, Bizarro World Anderson is not on X Kryptonite, so he don't have any powers. And Anderson leaves with the pendants before she can combine, and so he's on the run. And we get to see the story from Anderson's point of view for a little while, and you get to realize Anderson gets to realize that okay. Superman is actually Clark Kent. He's got a human family. And this is why he kept secrets, was to protect his family. So he's now suddenly realizing, oh, God, I'm a dope. I'm stupid. I should have been supporting Superman in the first place. Blah, 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 blah. It wasn't because Superman wasn't trustworthy. It's because we weren't. And so he goes into hiding, and he goes to find Lois, and ends up finding Lois, and they're hiding in the root cellar of the Kent farm. And it's Lois and her father and Anderson down there when John and Clark show up at the farm. And, Jonathan is not letting it out that he's a follower of the cult leader. He's trying to be on Superman's good side, and he goes looking for some kryptonite to give Superman a boost. Kryptonite's like, no, I better not, and stuff. He says, oh, you're stronger than my dad was, because he couldn't resist it. And then when he started to say his dad just maybe really had given up and didn't care and was no superhero anymore, Lois comes up from the basement and basically confronts Jonathan and says he's wrong. And Jonathan gets mad at Lois and said, I told you to disappear. And basically, then Lois is like, don't believe him. He was working for her. And then in the struggle, Jonathan is telling Clark he wants those pendants, and he expects Clark to give them to him. And then Anderson comes up, and it ends up being a kind of a three-way battle between Jonathan and Anderson and Clark. And the cult leader shows up, and there's an empowered Lana who is now married to Clark's half-brother, Morgan. And so then
Tal Rowe
is married to Lana Lang.
Yeah.
And Lana Lang, not Lane, Lana Lang. And so then we get another flip-flop, and we get to see the story from Tal Rowe's perspective. He talks about how he's with Clark, and Clark announces that Lois is pregnant, and Tal Rowe and in this iteration, he's a doting brother to Clark, and he's like, drinks on the house, on me, and Lana Lang is the bartender there in Smallville, and Clark has mentioned that he bought a farmhouse there in Smallville, so he didn't grow up in Smallville in this Earth. And it's square, by the way. It's square Earth. Because they even say, what in square Earth would get you to do that? And Clark is like, well, there's something about this place. And it speaks to me. and Talro ends up falling for Lana Lang, and then we next cut to them getting married. Then we later find that Talro and Lana become followers of the cult leader. And before their Clark comes to our world, he basically finds that out from his brother, and he says, "You promised me anything if I ever asked it, you would do it. Break away from that cult leader." And Talro's like, "Yeah, Lana really believes in it, so I can't." And he basically gives him the ultimatum: is either break off from her, or we're done. And so at the time they're done, and then he comes to our Earth, but he's all strung out now, and his face looks all burnt out from the drug use and everything. And then we cut back to the fight scene where they're all involved, and Clark is about to lose, and the cult leader is combining, and she gives the pendant to Jonathan, tells him to go over to our world and combine with his other. And so he leaves. Talro says, "What is she becoming?" And he decides, oh, maybe his brother was right. And so he rescues Clark. And then we basically switch back to Superman and Lois again. We switch out of the Bizarro world. We come back to the scene just as Jonathan from Bizarro World is walking up to the Kent farm, and is saying, "What are you doing here?" And and I'm here for him. He turns around, and there's Jonathan walking up, and that's cut scene right there.
Yeah.
And it was an intense episode. I love the different points of view. I love the way they told this story. This was 4-color panel comic book storytelling on the screen. They did it in the way that they would have done it in a comic book. And I love that. Is that old worldy POV switching way that they did it. I think that was the right track to take.
A small touch that they did that I ended up liking was how, at the beginning of the episode, they showed, the title Superman and Lois, but then as they changed the coloration red, they flipped they flipped the writing backwards, right?
Right.
And then at the end and then that was a kind of a visual cue about us going into the Bizarro world. And then whenever we get to the end of the episode and we're going back to the regular world, it shows the splash screen again, but it shows the color change from red back to our usual yellow or whatever, and the words flipping back frontward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a small touch, but it was something I appreciated.
It was very, very much the thing, though. Because, of course, when Superman first shows up in Bizarro World, to the Bizarro people, he's speaking backwards, just like the Bizarro Superman spoke backwards in our world. And he has to make a conscious effort to change his mindset to speak backwards.
Yeah.
So that he can be understood by everybody.
And that was something else that was neat, is that it was, from the viewer's perspective, we were basically experiencing the language from the perspective of the natives of whichever side we were in. And so when we were in the Bizarro world, we could clearly understand the Bizarro speech, but whenever Superman spoke, he was speaking backwards, and
we had to have subtitles.
We heard him speak that way, but then we saw subtitles until he had to stop and think about it for a minute, and then start deliberately talking backwards so that he could be understood. Which, fortunately, that's a talent that Superman could do, but most people wouldn't be able to just do that.
And this harkens back to that thing that a lot of people forget, which is that Superman has this extra Kryptonian ability to gain other abilities as needed.
Yeah.
That we often forget about Superman, because it's not portrayed in a whole lot of places. Because, his baseline abilities are usually enough for everything. But every once in a while, He needs
Yeah,
another ability, and then he
and
suddenly has it.
and and it's not like he developed a new power. It's just like his character's extremely, like, he has super intelligence and is able to think that way and is able to change. It made it like he doesn't automatically know every language in the world, but it's very easy for him to learn every language.
Right.
Not just in the world, but outside the world too, and alien languages. He can pick up on them very quickly and easily and learn them. He can learn a foreign language at super speed, and that's kind of what he did. Is
Because he has
he?
super speed processing
Yeah,
for
he
his
has super
brain.
speed processing. Yeah, his brain is super
It,
processes information at super speed.
yeah, he can basically process information in flash time.
Yeah,
Uh, and But the thing is, it is a little known fact that Superman does have an unstable like power matrix. He does develop new powers as needed, and that's why every once in a while you'll see him in an episode of something, and he will do something that you've never seen him do before because he spontaneously gains that power. And that's how a lot of his basic power structure came to be. And it's listed in his official power list, but it's very much an overlooked power of his that he can adapt. Um,
yeah.
and so this was just an intense episode, and it just gets your blood pumping for the next one. And tomorrow, I'm going to be at the edge of my seat, waiting to watch it. uh, and it was fantastic. You have any other thoughts on it before we move on to the Flash?
Um.
I know I was pretty
I,
inclusive.
yeah, yeah. I just kind of want to say that this is a really good episode. I like this episode a lot. We get more good episodes out of Superman and Lois than not. Something I appreciate about the show in particular. Which that reminds me. Before we move on to other stuff, did you hear about the announcements for the renewals and cancelizations for the CW?
No, I have not.
I forgot about this. Legends of Tomorrow's been canceled, so it won't get another season. So we don't get to see what happens with Booster Gold. Um,
At least we don't
uh,
get to see it in Legend of Tomorrow. They
what's
can
that?
always We don't get to see it in Legends of Tomorrow anyway.
That's true. That's true. They could pick up the storyline somewhere else. But yeah, Legends of Tomorrow's been canceled, and Batwoman's been canceled. Um, the Flash and Superman and Lois both got renewed for another season, but apparently the Flash is going to be a shorter season than usual. It won't be as many episodes.
Is it
Um,
officially a final season?
that's the running theory, is that it's probably going to be a final season since it's a shortened season. It's season 9, and that is the theory as to why it's shorter is because it's the final season or something.
It might
And
be.
then also on top of that, Warner Brothers, the new Warner Brothers, is looking to sell the CW network.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would
Not
not be
necessarily
good.
their DC shows, but like the
To sell the
network, the
network,
the
yeah.
whole, yeah. Which my thinking is if they do successfully sell the network, then the theory is that these DC shows, what happens to remain, will be pulled from CW and put on HBO Max.
Probably, or one of their other stations.
Yeah.
Because
With
with their new merger, they got most of the things in the
Discovery,
TBS
they
in the
they have
TBS.
Discovery. They got it's Discovery and Warner Brothers and HBO Max, and there is talk about combining those into a single subscription.
Right.
Um, but the new Warner Brothers Discovery is still working out the
The
specifics on how
details,
that would
right.
work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's been a lot of big changes on this front. So I don't know. I mean, with
Yeah.
with these cancellations, and at least the last I heard, what's that other one that we didn't watch much of?
Naomi?
Naomi.
Naomi.
Naomi is in the air. We at least the last I saw, we don't have a confirmation one way or the other about Naomi.
Naomi's getting better, but it's still not really justifying itself as a CW DC property. It's not feeling like a DC property still.
But there have been several announcements about new DC TV shows, all of which are being announced for HBO Max. They're talking about an Arkham Asylum series. They're talking about a Penguin series that's a spinoff from
the movie.
The Batman movie. There's an Amanda Waller spinoff show that they just announced, I think today.
I heard that they had approved another season of Peacemaker.
Yeah, they're working on a second season of Peacemaker.
They of course got that Green Lantern show in the works. The new Constantine show is supposed to be in the works. There's Gotham Knights.
The what?
Gotham Knights.
Oh.
You know,
I don't remember that one.
That's the one with with Damian Wayne and the children of Gotham's enemies.
Okay.
That one.
So
there's
the one with John Diggle. A lot of new DC property based shows that are currently in development.
On your renewal, did they say anything about Stargirl?
Oh, I haven't heard about Stargirl.
But then again, since the new season hasn't aired yet, they might be waiting until that airs before they decide.
Yeah, I think they do have a third season in the works. Right?
They do have a third. Well, the third season, I think it's already done. It's just not come out yet, and it's waiting for one of these to end.
Still editing or something.
I think it's just waiting for one of these to end so it comes in its time slot. So it's either going to take the place of the Flash or Superman and Lois when they end. It'll take their time spot currently is the plan, because it's supposed to come out fall, I think, of this year.
Yeah.
And so, because that's the one I'm really worried about is Stargirl, because you've already answered the other ones I care about.
Yeah, it's the
Stargirl is a major one for me.
Yeah, Stargirl is pretty good. The Arrowverse TV series. Oh, that's what's coming. Yeah, the 2021-2022 seasons of all the Arrowverse TV shows are all going to be put on HBO Max. I'm looking at a quick list of everything that's planned to come to HBO Max. Titan Season 4 for HBO Max, Harley Quinn Season 3,
Young Justice,
Sandman.
Yeah. Sandman, oh, can't wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, speaking of shows, we're going to go ahead and move on, though. We got on a tangent there. And we're going to go to one of our favorites, and it's in its penultimate episode, which, for those who don't know, that means it's the episode before the last episode for the season. And of course, we're talking about Mark Spector as Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. Wait, did you want to finish up the CW shows before we got to Moon Knight? Because there was still the Flash.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got distracted, and then we got distracted by your anecdote when I was transferring to the Flash, and I automatically thought we did the Flash. No. My brain is going. I don't know where, but it's going. Yeah, let's go back to the Flash. In the Flash, as you remember from the last episode, Ronnie Raymond came back, but it ended up not being Ronnie Raymond, but rather a negative ghost aspect of Ronnie Raymond called Deathstorm that had been re-matrixed together into a body by Caitlin and Frost against the better judgment of the rest of Team Flash. And it looked like she was right until the very end of the episode, when it looked like it was trying to burn Caitlin to death because it had turned into Deathstorm, which is, of course, one of the characters from the Darkest Night comic book run, which is, of course, the alternative Lantern Corps showcase, which is Brightest Day, Darkest Night storylines, which has some of us at least hoping that we're going to finally get to see some Green Lantern action, but we don't know for sure yet. They do some rewrites and stuff.
It's so hard to get Green Lantern action, man.
I know. We want some Lantern action here. Get those Guardians out there and start handing out some rings, damn it.
Yeah. There's like 3,000 fucking Green Lanterns. Give us one.
We know of at least 4 really good Earth Green Lanterns. You know, we got Carl Rayner, we got Hal Jordan, we got John Stewart, we got Guy Gardner. I mean, there's lots of Green Lanterns.
I mean, maybe give us one of the newer ones. Justin Cruz, Simon Baz,
somebody. Anyway, so we've got Deathstorm, and in the beginning of the next episode, they're trying to figure out what's going on because Caitlin reveals to them that it wasn't Ronnie and that they were right and she was wrong. And now their detection software is not working to find Deathstorm. He's not as detectable as he was with what Chester had originally developed. So then they think, well, if he's feeding on despair and sorrow, those are emotions, which means maybe we can hook up Cecile to Star Labs and use her as a big Deathstorm detector. And when that happens, he ends up overloading Cecile and basically speaking through her body, but he's the puppet master. And he basically tells them, nope, you can't stop me. I control the empath right now. Mwahaha, and does the evil laugh thing. And then they do some detecting, and they detect he's in Star Labs, and Star Labs starts to act up, and Allegra sees her cousin. And of course, she immediately realizes it's one of Deathstorm's ghost type images, but she ends up blasting it with her light power, and it blasts back, and she actually flies up against the wall, so there's some impact to the blast back, and she blasts a hole in one of the walls of Star Labs. So her power, which is of course concentrated light in different spectrums, was manifest. And so we got all kinds of badness coming on there. And then they finally realize that maybe Deathstorm was born when Ronnie Raymond's body went through that negative universe that Chester came from. And so now Chester thinks of a device that can monitor those kind of energies, not of this Earth, to try to do his detection. So that's the new plan to detect him. And they're going to use Frost as the avatar of this detection, because it kind of needs to be within somebody for it to work properly. And Frost is like, well, you know what? Dad designed me basically to protect Katie, so I'm just living up to what was made for. And, and Barry's all, we're a family. That's what we do. On another front, of course, I haven't forgot about Iris. She's been in Coast City with her time sickness. She actually caused the Phantom Girl, her mother, as she disappeared when Iris touched her. And so then Phantom Girl showed back up and touched Iris and made her disappear. Well, she pops back into existence. We're not sure why, but she might have gone into the Still Force, and it might have been her time sickness that saved her life. And she has no control over this Still Force, and Dion has not been showing up, which normally all she had to do was think about it, and he'd show up. And also, while she was in the still force, she could see her past and her present, but she no longer could see her future. Yet all times exist simultaneously in the still force. So it's got her worried that she doesn't have a future anymore. Dion does finally show up. Barry's been called back to Central City because of Deathstorm. The captain actually uses the app he gave her to summon him. And Dion shows back up, and he's worried, and he tells her to try to stay as grounded as possible in the present and anchored to those that she loves, and not to move around too much. And he would try to keep track of her better, but it was affecting him as well. And then he tries to touch her and put like a tracking system on her. And then Dion has some kind of fit and disappears and evaporates into like golden pixels. And so now we don't know if Dion's okay or not, or if she broke the still force, or at least the avatar of the still force. And she has several episodes where she like is fighting to stay cohesive in the penthouse apartment that they're staying in. So we've got some major upheaval coming, both from Deathstorm over in Central City, and then Iris in Coast City. They, even if the Flash does end up getting renewed, it could be that the actress playing Iris might be trying to renegotiate her contract, or it could just be that they're just trying to be real suspenseful right now with her character. But there's some major shit going on with Iris West, Alan. Did I leave anything important out of the Flash?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I watched it a week ago, so my memory on it's a little fuzzier, so you remembered more than I did.
Well, like I said, I rewatched them both today.
Yeah. It was, it was a pretty cool episode, though. I do think it was a pretty cool episode. This Deathstorm foe was pretty interesting. This whole idea of Caitlin being the bride of Deathstorm and trying to like prepare her for something.
Oh, I do know what one thing I did miss. Barry rode the lightning.
Oh yeah. Okay. I know you mentioned that. That was like the most exciting, most hype moment of the episode, because he's like running and throwing his own lightning into the air and then jumping onto his lightning and continuing going, running through the air to pursue Deathstorm as he's flying. And while he's doing that, they had Metallica's Ride the Lightning playing.
Which is so appropriate.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I mean, what else do you play when you're riding the lightning other than Metallica's Ride the Lightning?
Yeah.
I used to have that tour T-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to send a message to Angel, like as just after that scene. I was like, holy shit, dude! I was like, Barry just ran on his own lightning while Metallica's Ride the Lightning was playing, and he just replied back, "Wow," with like 15 O's.
That's right. Almost forgot, man, and that was such an intense part of it. And he got to see into the other universe, and that's how they determined the origin, because he recognized it as the universe that Chester had gotten stuck in.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a different universe. It's just somewhere else in their universe. It's like in a different galaxy.
Some other world.
Somewhere else in space. And they concluded that the reason why this guy hasn't been a threat for the last 6 years is because it took him 6 years to fly to Earth. So that's how far away he was. But now that he's powered up, he can teleport back and forth between the two.
Right. Yeah, now that he's manifest and everything and powered up, he can do pretty much anything because he's freaking cold fusion personified. And that's the power. Okay. Now on to Mark Spector.
Mark Spectre.
Oh boy, and this was a great episode too. We're still in the dreamscape with Tawaret, um, and we're sailing in a ship. Now, I went to rewatch this today and fell asleep because I was not getting my nap in when I should have, and I was trying to rewatch these instead, and it finally caught up to me. I couldn't sleep before, and so I put these on, and then I finally could sleep because my brain would relax a little bit, and I'd already seen it, so it wasn't as compelling to keep me on. But uh, I'll be a little fuzzier on this one because it's not as fresh.
Okay.
Uh, anyway, in the last episode, Mark and Steven had met each other in the dreamscape of the asylum. They'd also seen at least one other sarcophagus they didn't open, which rumors in the rumor mill has that as his other personality.
Yeah,
The,
which
the,
we
the cab
we guessed
driver.
that we were guessing that before, that it was probably going to be a third personality for him.
Well, yeah, and it's the cabbie, the one that was always the more brutal of the personalities in the comic book. And there's a whole thing. Nerdist.com does a whole video about the preludes to his possible appearance in the show, and they're hoping that in the final episode he actually fully shows up. But he's probably the one that was in control when neither Mark nor Steven were, and yet the bodies were surrounding them when they came to, and both of them denied doing it. We first thought that it was what's his name, the Khonshu that did it, but it could have been the other personality,
Yeah,
which is the violent extreme, where Steven is the passive extreme. This is the violent extreme, and then Mark is the in between personality. You know, he has the capability of violence, but he has the reason to only use it when he has to. Where this other personality is a little bit more of the unchecked, chaotic violence. As Arthur Harrow says, there's chaos in you. That's often what he means. In addition to Khonshu, is that other personality is not necessarily as civilized, and
yeah,
he's a New York cab driver kind of thing. They also think that he might have been partially taking over when they were doing a lot of the car chases, because being a cab driver, he would have some of the car tricks, because Steven would wake up at the wheel and it suddenly flipped a truck around, so he was driving backwards and not remembering how he did it, and Mark not owning up to doing it. Could have been that other personality as well. So we get shadows of this other personality that's hopefully going to get revealed in the final episode tomorrow. Another one I'm chomping at the bit to watch. I'm disappointed that it's over, but oh, do I want to see it. Uh, Believe it or not, we
yeah,
do not unlock Khonshu this episode, which I kind of thought we were going to get him unlocked already and back in the
yeah.
game, but I guess
Uh,
they're waiting until the ultimate episode to do that.
yeah, yeah. This episode was a lot of just a lot of this episode was sort of a flashback kind of thing to
Yeah,
give us the background of
yeah, it gave us
how
the
Steven came to
origin
be
of
and
the
everything.
personalities and where they came from, and the abuse
Oh,
in his life, and that
yeah,
what built his broken persona. And
yeah,
then of course, and then the only god we really dealt with a lot in this one was Tawaret, who was piloting the ship they were in the afterworld, and they were talking about possibly going through the gates of Osiris and letting him back. But first, they had to balance their hearts to the weight of the feather of knowledge, and they were out of balance, and so they had to do a lot of soul searching to get that balance between the two of them.
yeah,
And that's what the flashbacks were, was trying to develop that balance. And anyway, it's just was a very intense episode. at the end they kind of like take over the ship, and then they go through the gates of Cyrus, and that's kind of where they cut it. Um,
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh man,
they have so
they
much
well
going
because
on.
they got attacked by things out of the sand there at the very end,
Yeah,
and Mark was the one, was fighting them off, but then he got overwhelmed and almost pulled over the side, and so then Steven like managed to grab something. I forget what he did, maybe an oar or something, and was successfully fending them off for a bit. And he saved Mark, but ended up getting tossed over himself or falling over himself over the side of the boat and into the sand. And then as he was like standing in the sand, he's trying to get out. He's like, "Come back for me" or something like that, and got like crystallized or something, turned into stone or something. Um, so Steven, stuck as some kind of a statue basically out in the desert sand, these dunes of the afterlife, and then the scales balance, and Mark manages to pass into the field of reeds.
and then they basically cut it, and we don't know what happens
Yeah,
till next episode.
yeah,
So,
yeah. You gotta wait until tomorrow.
so tomorrow,
Tomorrow,
tomorrow is going to be
tomorrow.
one intense bit of watching
Yeah,
because between this and Superman and Lois, oh my God, we're going to be going through some intensity here. Uh, and so next, that's one of the things because we talked about possibly making our next episode 100% about Doctor Strange, or practically. But then we're like, no, because we got to handle the finale of Moon Knight as well. And plus, the first week after something premieres in theaters, we usually try to do a non-spoiler thing. So next week will be our non-spoiler coverage of Doctor Strange, and then the following week, hopefully, if we can get things to fall into place, we'll bring Angel on board and do our spoiler coverage. And if we have to delay the spoiler coverage a week or two to line up with Angel, we might do that. Because I really like it when Angel comes in for those kind of episodes. I
yeah,
think you do too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Getting the three of us together, I think
It's
works out
nice to have
well.
that third voice.
Yeah,
And as much as we loved having Greg here, the that wasn't he always left before the media section, so he was
yeah,
not the third voice for media. And there's just so much to talk about in the media, uh, especially right now, and it's a heyday for superheroes. Um, so what time is it? Oh wow, it's like 19 minutes early. Um, we've got Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness this week. Dumbledore, Secrets of Dumbledore is still out. Bad Guys is out, an interesting little cartoon that I'm looking forward to seeing. The Sonic 2 is still in theaters for those who want to see it in theaters. So there's lots of great stuff. Uncharted can now be bought on stream because Amazon is advertising it to be bought, so you could watch Uncharted that way, which means it should be coming to one of the streaming services soon as well. And
if
then,
if it does, it'll probably be stars.
yeah, which I have right now, so that's okay. For me, it's not okay for everybody, but it's okay for me.
Yeah.
Um, and I
See, I'm
just got a
thinking.
notice from T-Mobile that I get a free year of Apple TV, so I can stop paying for Apple and just do it for free. Uh, I just got that for Paramount Plus too. So Paramount Plus, or yeah, Paramount Plus and Apple both are giving me a free year from T-Mobile, and then I already get Hulu
Uh,
for free through my cell phone. So
From
that
what
just
I'm finding so far, it won't be coming to any streaming platforms anytime soon. It's available for rent. It will be available or is available for rent Or no, it'd be
Amazon
on the
has it
10th.
available
Yeah,
for rent.
Amazon Prime Video will have it available for rent or purchase on May 10th.
Yeah.
So it's not even watch it as part of your membership with Amazon Prime Video. It's a rent or purchase film. So
Yeah, it is a rent or
and that's
purchase right now.
and that's the case with most Sony made films. Is they don't end up on most streaming platforms.
Not right
They usually
away.
don't. Most of them do. I don't know if any of them go on streaming platforms.
Well, they go on streaming platforms, but they don't go in as fast as some of the others. Because everything eventually makes it to a streaming platform. It just which streaming platform and how soon. Um,
Yeah,
but so that's what's coming on. And of course, we got Thor, the new Thor coming out soon, and I know that's the other one that
yeah.
Lurch is chopping at
Apparently,
the bit
I
for.
mean, as of now, Venom still hasn't been released on a streaming platform.
I
The
own
first,
it, so
the first Venom, which came out in 2018. So it's a 4-year-old film that still can't be streamed on anything without a
yeah,
purchase.
it's on something because I've seen it on the list a couple of times. I think it's on Paramount Plus.
Mm, see here. Oh,
It's
that's
on one
Venom
of them.
2. I can't find it.
It's
According
on
to
either
the
Paramount or
article,
Peacock or something.
let's see here. The article I read was from like September, so maybe it's been put out on something since then. Let's see here about Venom. I'm getting an ad for something. Venom, no.
It's on Hulu.
Let's see, not on Netflix. Is it on Hulu?
That's what it says. Oh, and on the paid version of Hulu, uh, the uh, the ad-free version is Venom on any streaming.
Where to
I have
watch and stream
Fubo
Venom?
TV,
February.
uh,
Oh, Stars in HD.
and Stars. It's on too, and I have Stars, so that's where it
Oh,
probably shows.
according to this, it's the only place to watch it for free is Stars. It's at least this one was from February. This article is from February. That says it's available on Stars and HD.
Yes.
But if you want to watch on, you can get on Amazon, Vudu, Apple TV, Google Play, YouTube, Microsoft Redbox, and DirecTV if you pay for it. Pay for the individual movie.
It's supposed to be
Not on
coming
Netflix,
to Netflix,
not
but
on
it's not
Disney
there
Plus,
yet.
not on HBO Max. Can't be found on Hulu.
It said it's on the
Not on
paid
Prime
version of
Video.
Hulu when I just looked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's the paid version, the Hulu Live, not
I mean, we have.
the ad-supported Hulu.
Mm, I don't know about that. I don't think so.
I just saw a link for it where if I clicked the 7-day trial, I could watch it.
March 2022. Does Hulu have? You probably. Hey, April 29th. Is Venom on Hulu? You can probably find Venom on Amazon.
Hmm. All I know is I know it's on a couple of streaming services that I have
So
because I've
we
seen it.
pay for
But
Hulu.
I
I
mean,
just
I
don't
own
remember
it,
what the.
so
I don't know what the login is because that's the one that Ali paid for, and I don't remember the
I
login for
own
it.
it. But I think I've got it in my, I've got both of the Venoms in my Voodoo collection. So
Yeah, yeah.
But
I've got it in my Voodoo collection as well.
and the thing is, if it's on your Voodoo collection, it'll show up in your Amazon Prime list as something you can
Oh
watch
yeah.
because of the link between the
If you yeah,
movies
you can get
anywhere.
the link up. You can get the link up with a lot of stuff with movies anywhere. It'll show up in my YouTube and everything too.
Right.
Uh,
So
but yeah,
anything you've got
from
linked to
everything,
movies anywhere.
yeah, movies anywhere is pretty nice. And
But
then you can buy it where it's the cheapest and watch it on any of the platforms that you have it linked to.
right. I tend to buy most of my stuff on Vudu, but every once in a while I get like a credit for choosing uh, Prime Day shipping. They give me like a $5 digital credit, and
Yeah,
I use that to get a free movie every once in a while off of Prime. That way, because I'll take those digital credits and cash them in for a movie on Movie Anywhere through Amazon Prime. And
yeah.
then it becomes free pretty much. It's because I mean, all it usually means is I delay one day in my shipping, and a lot of times it's not even a delay. It's the same day they would have offered me without Prime Day shipping, but they gave me
Oh,
$5 for choosing it.
oh, here we go. Uh, Apparently using the Hulu app, you can also get Stars shows. Like if you pay for
Oh
Stars,
yeah,
and that's where it looks like Venom shows up there. So you can watch it on the Hulu app if you pay for the Stars stuff.
and then that
Yeah,
so if you have Stars as one of your channels on Amazon, you can also watch it then probably.
yeah.
And
So
I
yeah,
have Stars as one of my
I think
channels,
I mentioned this a couple months ago when we were talking about probably Uncharted or maybe Spider-Man No Way Home.
right?
Um, Sony has an exclusivity deal with Stars where if they stream something, if they put something out on a streaming service, they have to put it on Stars for like at least a certain number of years before they're allowed to try to put it on anything else. Um, and I mean, Venom is a 4-year-old movie now and still only on Stars. So
That
they
makes sense.
are, yeah. That's why I keep telling people that when it comes to the Spider-Man related movies, you're gonna have to
Get Stars or wait
get Stars or
or purchase
buy
it.
them, yeah, or buy or rent them.
Hmm.
I wouldn't.
And why rent if
And
you're going to want to watch it more than once? Might as well buy.
that's my thinking. Oh my gosh, especially No Way Home. No Way Home is the best Spider-Man movie.
Oh, it is. Plus, I mean, I know I'm going to rewatch the Spider-Man movies over and over again, so there's no way I'm going to waste money renting them
I
when I can buy them.
That's actually I'm probably going to be rewatching No Way Home tonight in prep for Doctor Strange.
Right?
I just finished rewatching WandaVision last night,
I rewatched all of
and
WandaVision.
yeah, I rewatched Doctor Strange, all four Avengers movies, all three Thor movies, the entire What If series, and the entire WandaVision series, and pretty much everything left that features Doctor Strange, Wanda, or Thor that I haven't rewatched in the last weekish is the
Loki,
Spider-Man No Way Home, and then after Spider-Man No Way Home, um,
Loki.
someone told me I needed to watch Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings again because it's got Wong, but Wong's appearance in that is so minimal. I don't really see it as like required viewing for the new Doctor Strange film. Um, and
You could be
then
surprised though, because Shang-Chi might end up getting a guest cameo and that we don't know about.
yeah, there's so many. I've seen the newest trailer shows a couple more shots of cameos or characters in this. I don't know if they're cameos or what the extent of their appearances are, but the latest
We
trailer
hear
shows a couple
Patrick
more
Stewart.
characters. Huh?
We hear Patrick Stewart again.
Yeah, we don't just hear Patrick Stewart. We see him in his yellow chair very briefly, and you only see his hand in the chair. You don't see like his head or anything. But as he's talking, like, let's see what kind of Doctor Strange he is, or something like that. So, there's so much that looks good about this. I can't wait for the new Doctor Strange.
Oh, I know. This weekend, I've got my alarm set to wake us up. Plenty of time to get to the theater. And yeah, we're going to be at the 11:15 showing, the earliest showing on Sunday over at Alamo.
Nice. Cool. Well,
And we are at like,
we're running a little early. Since we're a little early, I thought maybe I'll go ahead and throw this new thing at you. Something I did not include in my subjects because I didn't think we'd have time to talk about it. Is Netflix has just announced a Sonic the Hedgehog TV series. I think it's called Sonic Prime, a new animated show.
mm,
Uh, um, Hopefully it's good, but as uh as Sonic's been hitting it big recently, it makes sense to give him a new show.
right? And and that's another thing. This week, not only is it the season finale of Picard, but we also get the first episode of Star Trek Strange New World coming out.
What's that?
We get the season finale of Picard this week coming up, and the premiere of Star Trek Strange New World, which tells the tale of Christopher Pike, who was the Enterprise captain before James Kirk. In fact, in the original pilot for Star Trek, it looked like they were going to go with the Christopher Pike character, and then instead they went with Kirk. And Pike showed up later on in a couple of episodes as like an elderly person. And then I guess he showed up in Star Trek Discovery. I haven't watched all of Discovery, but he showed up in the last part of Star Trek Discovery as kind of a backdoor pilot to making Star Trek Strange New World. So there's another Star Trek series opening up this week as well. So nerddom unite. There's lots and lots of nerdiness coming our way. We got Miss Marvel coming out soon. She-Hulk will be coming at us eventually here. We've got so much going on in the Marvel and DC cinematic universes, whether they movie or TV.
We don't have I don't think we ever released it yet for She-Hulk. We got Moon Knight ends tomorrow, and then we got Doctor Strange, and then I
Miss
think
Marvel.
Yeah, and then I think in June or July is Miss Marvel. I forget which it was. I think it's July.
Stranger Things season 4 part 1 is later in May. It's May like 27th, I think. Because I think it's on Allison's birthday. So we have Stranger Things. Part 1 of season 4 starts this month. It's just an intense month, and so much is going on in nerddom. I mean, speaking of nerddom, and on Domino Masters, they had Bill Nye the Science Guy as a guest judge on the last episode of Domino Masters, which is pretty cool. Dominoes is another niche kind of nerdiness. Lego Masters will be coming back. So that's another niche nerdy kind of thing. And if you watch the last Lego Masters, of course, Will Arnett is the host of that, and he's the voice of Lego Batman. Um,
Oh my gosh.
so there's
I
just
think
so
I got
much
some.
going on.
I think I got water in my left ear. It's been like crackling on me all day. I thought it
Oh,
was the
I hate
headset,
that.
but even when I pull the headset away, I still hear the sound. So it's
It's
got to
either
be my
water
ear.
or wax.
Well, I took a shower just before the stream, and so I'm
Oh,
thinking
then
I
it's
got
probably
water
water.
in there while I was showering.
Yeah, you probably got water in
Ugh.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to call it a night tonight. Um, it's only 2 minutes early now, which is for us, that's on time. Jeez.
Yeah.
1 minute now. We will catch everybody next week. You can also see reruns of the show uh, on if you're a subscriber to my channel. Of course, you can watch them through the reruns of the Twitch ability. Otherwise, you can go to YouTube and look up Gamer Seuss, and in the Game Time playlist, you will see all of our old episodes of Game Time. Also, you'll see any other streams that I might have done and transferred over, like the beta test for Fractured. I've got at least one beta test video. I've got me working on song lyrics. Um, I've got a restaurant review on my page. I've got some DMD panels that I've done, helpful tips and tricks as a DM. All of that you can find. If you go to Lurchland, that's where Lurch is doing a lot of his broadcasting right now. Left Claw Studios is kind of on hiatus, but you can still see Lurch every once in a while doing some stuff on Lurchland,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. And
which is
and
his channel.
even though that Love Cost Studio is on a bit of hiatus, we do still have like 400
Yeah, there's all their old
videos
videos.
there.
Yeah,
Playing Metal Gear and Spyro and all kinds of stuff.
yeah, and then
Um,
remember the third Wednesday of every month, go out to Holdfast Brewing Company and see Greg Pullman, and he's also got his Twitch channel, which is his Twitch channel name escapes me right now, but it's something to do with like cardboard.
Queen City Cardboard.
Queen City Cardboard. That's right. Queen City
Yeah.
Cardboard, where he does a lot of casual RPG type games, one shots and stuff, and he's also looking to do some board game uh, information there as well. But you can catch him, and he generally broadcasts every Thursday at 10 a.m. On his channel with a casual RPG stream. So you can catch him there. He, of course, used to be one of our hosts here until his schedule got a little bit too busy. So in the new year, he dropped out of being a host, but we still fully support Greg there, and he is also the director of tabletop gaming for Eclectic Endeavors. So we're
Yeah.
still very much involved with him, and we'll tell you about Holdfast Brewing Company every time we get a chance. And if you come out to Holdfast Brewing Company and you have a suggestion for our show, if you pass it along to Greg, Greg will make sure we get that information so that we can try to, include your feedback and influence in our shows, because we're here for
Yeah.
the entire nerd community in the Ozarks. From the Ghostbusters of the Ozarks to Costuming Guild of the Ozarks. I mean, we cover everybody.
Yeah.
It's not just mine and Lurch's interest that we're going to cover. And we'll catch everybody next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Hope everybody had fun at VisionCon, and game over.
Yeah. Peace out.